Hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. It's Wendy, and I am so excited to have a guest for you today. I have invited Cadence Kidwell. She is the owner of Fuzzy Goat, which is described in her words as a whimsical and eclectic yarn shop located in historic downtown Thomasville, Georgia. Many of you will remember that we were in Thomasville for our mastermind meetup, and that is where I had the chance to see Cadence shop. And it's so whimsical and so eclectic and so awesome. She established her store in 2014, and the shop aims to knit together the community by offering consciously chosen yarns and fostering a welcoming environment for both new and experienced crafters. I can tell you right now, that's exactly how her shop feels. Her transition from academics to retail prior to, and she's going to share a little bit of that about that in our conversation, was driven by a desire to create a space that combined her love for learning, creativity, and community engagement. And I'm going to tell you, we have the greatest chat. You're going to have lots of takeaways. Cadence is just joy-filled and smart as a whip. So I loved her conversation. I hope you love our conversation. Cadence Kidwell from the Fuzzy Goat. Let's get to it. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. So here we are. Cadence, I have
Wow.
you in my presence here on my podcast. Welcome to the Creative
Oh, I'm
Shop Talk
so
podcast.
flattered to be here. Honored.
I'm so excited to have you here. We had the opportunity to meet in person in Thomasville, Georgia. When I was there, I got to come into your shop and it was just so beautiful. And I want to thank you for welcoming our mastermind members in and sharing such amazing wisdom with them. So I'm like, I got to get you on the podcast. So welcome. Glad you're here.
I had actually met you before, though I was just a member of an audience at H&H when you spoke there on events, and it was really powerful. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, well, thank you. I wish we had met there because I love connecting if anybody's listening and you're in an audience and we're someplace, please come and say hi after because it always makes me happy to see. So yes, I was at H&H and you said, and when I walked into your shop, I'm going to tell a little funny story. When I walked into your shop, everybody walked in, the whole team walked in, or, all our members walked in, my husband walked in, and then I was kind of like last to go in and you're like, and Wendy, welcome. It's like, how do you know who I am? Like, I was so confused. I've never been recognized before. You made me feel
And
very
I listen to your podcast. So I've been, following, and I get lots of wisdom from there.
yes. Well, thank you. You made me feel very welcomed, and I actually didn't know how to handle that. I was like, that was very exciting. And then we were talking about H&H and the podcast. So thank you for sharing that. So tell us a little bit about Fuzzy Goat and tell us a little bit about what you do. What you do. I know we know you're in Thomasville, but what is the Fuzzy Goat and what do you do in your retail?
Fuzzy Goat is a yarn shop, but more importantly, I think what we sell is connection and whimsy. So we are all about making, mostly knitting and crochet. We have a few other fiber related projects, but what we really try to do is bring people together, whether it's virtually or in our space. We could do much better virtually. We do a lot with our Facebook Lives. We've not mastered Zoom classes and things like that, but we have a lot of community in our Facebook group and in our texting and our Facebooks and stuff like that. But we really like to feel like we bring people together.
You
And
definitely do. I mean, you can feel that in your store. And I love that. I love that for you. I love that for your community. I love that for your staff. It's very welcoming. Your shop is very welcoming. And the reputation that you have is amazing. So let's talk a little bit about that. How are you spreading community and, how are you building that energy, that vibe inside your shop?
I think it's the team. It's absolutely, and we are small but mighty. There's just 4 of us, and I'm the only one that's full-time. So, Melissa does Facebook Live every week. She is an amazing sweater knitter, and we have found that since she knits sweaters, other people are not afraid anymore. She's talking about it all the time. Once a week, when we go to H&H, she is the celebrity. It's super fun, and I love that. Madeline takes the most amazing photographs, and she's also now also writing our email. So all of our social media presence, I think, also brings that in. And I'll admit we put a lot of money behind our Facebook ads
Mhm.
that spread that. I even wrote a blog post about that earlier this year when people were leaving and why I was staying, because I feel like a lot of our fuzzy fans, that is where we will find them. And if we all left, then where would they get their community? And then Carolina is the one that does all our fulfillment. And so, and as well as our curated boxes. So we do a box each year that's an Advent box that we sell a ridiculous amount. We sell 500, which it is an ongoing process to put this together because it has 31 little envelopes in it. But we think of it as kind of like our on ramp. So a lot of those people then find us through that and then continue to find us through the, so we have a really robust email flow, all that kind of thing.
Right. So your revenue streams are in person, like
Yes.
self. You have an e-commerce, or why don't you share with us how the Fuzzy Goat, what
It
your
really is
revenue
those 2
streams
it's
are?
those 2 things. Before COVID, it was a little bit online, really not very much at all. You could sign up for our classes online, but you took them in the shop and a few little things. But now almost everything we have in the shop is online, and it's some months is 60 to 70% of our revenue, and then the rest is in shop as well. Some people order online that pick up. So it's really those 2 different ways. But of that, most people buy our boxes, whether they're picking them up in the store or not. They buy them online, and that's at least 20% of our overall revenue.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes a difference. So the transition, I hear a lot of retailers are, so I mean, we all want in-store. And
Yeah.
I hear a lot of retailers say, "Oh, I love, I don't want to go on e-commerce. I don't want the hassle of doing that." But it's important, I think. Like, I mean, your numbers are showing.
I mean, we wouldn't be here if I hadn't, frankly. I do a Facebook Live myself every Saturday, and people are like, "Oh, I couldn't do that." I was like, it scared me more that I
Right.
was going to go out of business. I mean, like, who would
Right.
know?
Right.
We closed,
Yeah.
so we didn't even have in store people because we were very cautious.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that got my behind in gear. I had to
Yeah.
get over myself in a big hurry.
I know I said to somebody the other day, it's our actions that write the results, right? It's our actions, like it's not our dreams and hopes, right? Like we can hope all we want. I hope people come in, I hope we make money, but it's like literally, okay, gotta turn on the camera, go live to turn on the e-commerce. We gotta
Yeah.
gotta make
It
that
is
happen.
it is a lot of work. I do spend a lot more time on it. It's
Right.
not as much fun as the other, but when that ka-ching
Right.
goes off, it's like, "Oh, right, that was worth
Yeah.
it."
Yeah, the ka-ching, but also, I mean, it does still connect and build connection. This is what I keep
Yes.
people, like, I keep telling retailers, it all works together, right? Like our online community becomes, you just said, a lot of people order online and pick up in store. So we're in an era where people want connection and physical touching of your products, especially your products, but they also want convenience, right? So we want the two. So
Well,
yeah.
and if it wasn't for that, so one of my most favorite things is the fact that we are telling the stories and selling small makers, mostly women, that we're enabling. I'm not going to say we're their sole source of income by any means, but we are a large part of some of their, and they wouldn't be able to keep going. So every one of those online orders or the in-store, it's just another way that these small makers can continue to support their families as well. And I love being able to tell their stories and have a larger way to do that.
Yeah, we're amplifying,
Yeah.
like, amplifying the ripple of, and we get to not start it, but like we get to start that ripple, right? And then they're able to pour into their families and they're able to pour into their, it's just, we all need each other, right? Like we all need
So
each
satisfying knowing that, you're
other.
having more money go into Sarah's family, or Jenny can now take a vacation, that she hasn't been a really long time. And
Yeah, I know I see that. I see what you're doing. I see how you're doing it. I see what you have in your shop. I mean, it's just wonderful to see, growth that you have going on there. So it's fabulous.
you.
Let's talk about how did you end up becoming how did you end up? This is always the origin story, as we like to say. Are you an accidental entrepreneur like a lot of us are who evolved? What like did you go to school to be a retailer and that's what you like
Oh,
nobody's
no, I've been to school a lot. I
yeah.
really like school. I have lots of degrees in lots of different things. And my last job, I was working at Florida State University. It was a great job. But I was in my mid 50s and I had created this certificate program and it was up and running. And I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I've been teaching, I've been doing those different things. And I thought I had one more big push in me. And like most knitters, I was obsessed with my knitting. I had two screens at work, and one of them I could say this now, 11 years since I've been there. One of them was on Ravelry. I was like looking at that, planning projects. I wish somebody just pay me to plan their projects, stuff like that. And I had also spent time helping faculty be better teachers. So I had a lot of friends in a lot of different disciplines. So one of my friends she's now the dean of the School of Entrepreneurship at FSU. So I went to Susan and said, I really think I want to open up a yarn shop. What kind of classes do I need to take? What do I need to do? And she said, go to the Small Business Development Center and work through them. And so that's what I did. I didn't need to take classes for that. They helped me write up a lot of good questions so that I could approach one yarn shop that I had a lot of respect for, and made a visit there and very respectfully asked her my questions and kept my time limited and all of that. And I remember now that the coach Chris said, you can go do this now. It's not just an exercise. Like I like the assignments.
Yeah.
And so eventually, that's how it worked into it. And then about 8 months, I was thinking about this, 8 months into it, we had 8 months into after quitting my job, having my shop, all of those things. The big thing that allowed me to do that mentally was I still had my husband's income and insurance and all those benefits to rely on, and those all went away.
Oh,
So that was a big shock. So we had to then decide, was I going to go back? Go back to what? I mean, it wasn't like my job was sitting there. Somebody else was doing it very finely. And so we really had to double down. And so we sold our house that our kids, they weren't living with us as for it and all of that, and moved into we didn't live in Thomasville, we lived in Tallahassee, so it's just 20 miles away, and I was commuting. It was never the intention that we would live here, but I'm really glad I do now. Now I live just 4 blocks away. It's a whole new adventure, much smaller house, no mortgage, all that kind of stuff, just to keep making the shop work out.
yeah, and it's interesting. It's everybody has a different startup story or origin story or even reason story. And sometimes I get to peek behind the covers of a lot of a lot of businesses and a lot of reasons. And I see a lot of retailers, we're treating it like a hobby and maybe starting like a hobby and having that, like you just said, the secure, like I don't really need to make it's like I want to help people. I want to teach my trade. I mean, I know that was honestly when I first started my paint store, that's what it was. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like the breadwinner of the family kind of thing, right? And it's like, so we started slow and it sounds like not that you started slow, but there's a different urgency, a different reason, I mean, we're still encouraging people and teaching people, you're still doing all the things, but we got to make profit and payroll, right? Like it's got to fly, right? And then there's a whole different mindset, I think, I call that putting your CEO hat on. And I see that happen a lot with a lot of creatives, especially like you kind of go from a creative running a retail business to the mind shift of, okay, I'm running a business, but I happen to be very creative. You know what I mean? I'm creative, shop. So would you say that was a shift when all of a sudden you had to move and it's now the
Yes. I mean, that was it also coincided with when I found out that there was such a thing as a retail coach. So thank God I found that because I don't really know where I would be now without that. This is how you pay yourself. This is how you make sure you retain your team because you're not going to be able to do it all yourself.
Right.
Open to buy, all of those things that happened to coincide at the very same time.
Right.
So that was absolutely mind blowing. And, and I love learning. That's school. That's stuff I'm learning all the time is about, vendor analysis.
Like like you're never done. That's what I tell people. Like
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur for 30 years and like there's never like I know it all now. So, I'm just like I like every day I'm learning as well too. Like we're never done. Like there's a new level, there's a new thing that comes out, there's whatever, whether it's AI or
Purple one. Never.
every level of success, maybe, or every level of evolvement of our evolvement of our business takes a whole like, okay, now we got to learn open to buy. Like, okay, like now we got to learn this because winging it doesn't work with I mean, the retailers that I see that struggle are winging it. Like they're not. I mean, and bless you if you're listening and you're just winging it and it's working for you. You're a rare bear, like for me, in my experience. But winging it just we have to keep learning. Before we jumped on the call, before I pushed record, you said of all the years of like, tell us again what you said about learning from before.
Oh, so all the times I've been through school and all of that, I've never learned so much as I learned running a business.
Right.
I'll tell you now, my screen at work is never open to Ravelry where I'm just planning projects anymore.
Kind of
It
ironic,
might be
isn't
at
it?
home where I'm planning some projects. Melissa gets to do that a lot with our customers, but yeah, I learn more every day running a business than I ever learned in all my
You
schools.
have you have to have a learner's mindset. This is what I tell people. It's not if you just want to sit and knit all day,
Oh
don't
yeah.
don't open a store, go, go visit stores and shop there because it's not
Yeah,
viable.
people think that's what we do all day.
Yeah,
Oh, can I bring my knitting if I get hired? I'm like, you're not gonna if you want to show somebody what you're working on, but you're
yeah.
not gonna have time to work on it. Because even if there's somebody isn't in the store, we got lots to do.
Right. That's 100% it. So let's talk about your team and your staff. You have an incredible staff, and I know that you trust them. And I know that we've had conversations. You mentioned this when you talked to the mastermind group when you were sharing with us, but about your support team and how it's not just a placement job. Like it's not just, a sales clerk job or, can you speak a little bit more to that for us, Cadence?
Oh, yeah, I really feel so we have, like I said, there's myself and then three others, and two of them are in their late 20s, early 30s.
Mhm.
So we really are they're not full time, but we're their first job. This is their primary job. This is what they do most of the time. So I feel a real responsibility for that. We do everything from team reviews where they get to talk about they rate themselves. We'll talk about that. And then also what else do they want to get involved in? We meet at least twice a month, if not more than that. And one of the things that we've been doing in our team meetings is I have them bring an item for discussion that they want to develop so
Mhm.
that so my one of my let me back up for a second. One of my goals that I have on my board right here is the core team feels like it's their shop and they're invested. So
Yeah.
that's how I want them to feel. So by them coming to, first they were a little bit about like, well, I just do what you tell me. I'm like, but what do you need help with? And
Yeah.
so as soon as that starts opening up, they start thinking of those items, those things like themselves, their tasks as goals for themselves as well, and they feel really invested.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think having an invested team, I mean, that's how we keep an like that's how we
yes.
keep people. I always I love to think like we're hiring hearts, not just hands. Like I don't want to just tell you what to do. We're hiring real humans. This is how
Yeah,
I this is how I train about
that's
hiring.
lovely.
It really we're hiring like humans with lives and and ideas and brains and they have hearts. So why are we not using them to that? Like, I don't need somebody to just, I want them to be invested. And I agree with, when you said it's we're building people we want to stay. I mean, they might grow and go. I mean, that's
Right.
part
Yeah.
of life, right? I mean, your 20-year-old's not probably going to stay with you, but it also doesn't have to just be a transient job or a sales clerk job. You know what I mean? Like, we want them invested. And that comes out when they're how I felt that even in the short time that we were in your shop with your team. And I've seen, your socials, and you feel that it's not just the Cadence show, right? Like it's
And I don't want it to I love
no,
people
no,
come
yeah,
in and they're disappointed that Melissa's not there. I feel like
yeah,
they did a good job.
yeah,
And like Madeline, when I can get training for her, so just continuing to develop her already great innate skills. So like she's been going through this training on Pinterest. So she's got a whole other new level of ideas. And yeah, the emails that she writes, she went through some training on that to make those learn how to do the funnel and
right.
all of that sort of thing. So that we're really investing in them. And then in small ways, nobody needs health insurance right now, but I keep an eye on that, see if there's some way we could help with that.
Yeah,
It would be tough, but it's something that would matter. We do a retirement plan for them. So again, trying to teach good habits to especially the
yeah.
younger ones. It sounds like I have, I have children. I try not to think of them that in that fashion, I don't that can lead to although I will true confession, one of them actually is my daughter. But she started off in the beginning and then she went off to go be a teacher. Then COVID happened. And then, but this particular group, she came back at the same time that Madeline and Melissa did. So all together, we've been together now for 5 years
I love that.
at the
I'll
same
tell
place.
you, when I was 19 years old, I started working for a company that it was a small airline, like a little independent airline. And they started and they were telling me about this like retirement plan thingy, like when you're
Yeah.
19, like what, I don't know, like whatever. And I remember saying to my dad, like, they're taking money out of my paycheck. They're telling me I should sign up for this. And I've been grateful I can remember the conversation with the owner of that company when I started working there because I'm old now and I still appreciate that. That that was just part of like so I do think that it's important. I also so we've owned several businesses and as often as we can and we used to have a service-based industry in the janitorial world, which is not common. And I will tell you that we always try to figure out health and retirement planning. And those people always we didn't have turnaround of staff. People
Right.
value that, right? So you're right. Like, I mean, being able to give back as much as we can, right? Like if we can make the business flow and we can involve our team to help and to see like here's why we're doing this, like here's why we need to make these sales and here's why, so we can have I admire you for doing that as well. I think I think we're not in it just for the transactional. I don't know, we're not in it to be like
Right.
multi-million, like it's what are we giving back to the humans that work for us, the people in our world. We have to still make sure we're making profits and pays and having a life, but that's what makes it different than the big box stores, right? And I
It's so
feel
stressful to find a new person. We have a very small pool here
yeah, yeah,
to look
yeah.
at. I mean, it's much less stressful for me to figure out how to do that and pay them a fair wage and do that than it would be to replace them.
Well, it's the same as our customers, right? I
Yeah,
mean, honestly,
exactly.
we got to
Yeah.
keep our customers happy because it's a lot harder to find when you have a community. Anyway, you know that as well too.
Yeah.
So after 11 years, let's talk about after 11 years. What are your thoughts on like the tools you have, or how do you feel about business at this stage? Are you loving it still? I mean, does it still light you up every day? I'm just curious, like how
Yeah.
that.
It's so funny because I still feel like I'm new at it, but
Yeah.
that's because quite a few so by being a member of a retail coaching community, I have friends that have been in the business, especially yarn shop business, much longer than me, another 10 years. So I still
Yeah.
feel like I'm learning lots from them. So, I can't imagine doing anything else. I mean, some women my age. So when I first started, people would be like, oh, when I want to retire, I want to do that too. And, inside I was a little offended because I wasn't old enough to be retired yet, and I didn't retire. There's
Yeah.
no cushion or anything like that. And in fact, I don't have a as a side, I don't have a retirement account because the building next door came up for sale and I cashed in my retirement to buy that building. But now I am around the age where my cohorts would be retiring. And I'm like, What would I do all day?
That's that's what I say. Yeah.
I mean, I can only knit so much, and it would just no, it really does. It lights me up. Yes, some days are a little bit harder. I came back from H&H with COVID. I was like, but then the team, like, they didn't miss a beat. They're like, you could have taken a vacation.
Yes, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people came back with COVID.
Right, I know.
It's my understanding. But let's talk about that. So a lot of retailers have this mindset of it has to be me. So if I'm sick or I'm down, and so I preach, I always joke, my listeners will know and my clients know that I teach, not preach, but I preach. We have to take care of our health, but we have to build a team. We have to have a team to take care of other things. So we're not for reasons like that, right? I mean, things happen, right? We cannot build a business on a deck of cards, right? Or have, a foundation. So if we fail, everything fails, right? So I love that you're building the team, you're building a community that's going to keep showing up. I mean, if we have to close the doors because of COVID or whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
we've got our online, we've got, we're planning other things, right? We have backup. We're running a business like a business, right? So are you in the store? Let's talk about your role then. So what is your role? What is Cadence role in the shop? I know you love being, I could tell that you love being in the shop, but are you in the shop on the floor a lot, or are you mostly doing the big visionary CEO work?
So I'll say I still do way more that only I know how to do. So I
Mhm.
still need to continue to look at that list and see, okay, who else could know a little
Right,
more about each of these pieces.
right.
I am in the shop, but I'm often in the office. And one of the things I'll do is when I finish a task, I'll go up and I'll ask Melissa, how can I help? Which is another way to nurture her, like it's her, she's in charge. How can I help? Not like, what are you doing?
Yeah. There's a whole different energy vibe there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Saturdays, I'm not planning on being in the office section at all. I'm up there busy days like that, anything. But I mostly wear the CEO hat. I'm doing the vendor analysis and seeing what we need to buy. But a lot of times I'll say to Melissa, we need to buy, so much of worsted weight. What do you pick? Make an order, and
Right.
that sort of thing. So I'm kind of directing
Yeah.
the traffic control.
Yeah. And you're happy. That's a good,
Yeah,
uh,
I like doing
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
can see
love
that.
the website maintenance and putting the product up is probably one that I'm, like, looking for, like, I gotta find some other way to do that.
You got to get that off your
Yeah,
plate.
yeah.
Data entry does not need to be what Cadence
Right.
joy is. I mean, that's how we kind of laugh.
Yeah,
So, good lesson for all of us and for a good takeaway for everybody. We need to, we need to balance that, right? But I still think we also need to keep doing. I have retailers that I work with, I have the privilege of working with that love being on the floor. Love, we have to do the back stuff, but we love being on the floor. So there's a great balance as well, too, right?
yeah.
Being there. Your Fuzzy Goat is really amazing with community marketing events. I mean, I feel like you just have such an energy around. I mean, I'm not there. I don't live in Thomasville, but I feel it. I see it. Could you share with us maybe a marketing or something that's working really well for you that you love doing or that your customers love that works really well for you?
Countdowns seem to be something. So we'll
Mhm.
do a countdown like so we do subscription boxes.
Right.
It started off with Fuzzy Fix, which is a 3 series. And when we got ready to launch that, and every time we'll do guess what's coming. This recently with the Fuzzy Fix this year, I even did surveys ahead of time just to get people excited about what's coming, but also let them that we've been doing it enough years. We got really good feedback from them
Yeah.
on that also. Videos that went with it about what I like about the Fuzzy Fix and what goes in the Fuzzy Fix and all of that. It's a lot of work, but it definitely pays off when it gets started. And then when we open it up and the people are able to purchase it, but also I try to make sure those videos have something useful in them anyway, so that they can continue to live on and have, where I'll talk about you won't be on your own. We can provide support in the project in the box. And that's true of any project that you would get from us if you were just buying a single skein of yarn.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I do notice that you're attracting a lot. I mean, I actually saw some video from Yarn Shop Day, local Yarn Shop
Oh,
Day.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, your store was packed, and it's just, I don't know, it makes me feel good.
Well,
So
local yarn shop day, it blows my mind. It makes me emotional. There's
yeah,
people waiting out there. And Wendy, it's bigger than Black Friday.
I know it is.
We don't have
I've worked with Yarn Shop, the local Yarn Shop Day Association, and they're like, you don't understand. I was like,
we
okay,
don't have a discount like
yeah.
we do on Black Friday. And it's a bigger day. It's just so heartwarming. It's very exciting that people really do want their local yarn shops to be around. I
That's
think
actually what the crust of that. So I did a lot of research around that as well too for local yarn shop day, and it's interesting, and that's what it is. They 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 love you so much, right? They love you so
uh,
much. So, and I feel like a lot like you gave back, or you give back in energy during that. So I mean, it was heartwarming to see all the people in your shop. I mean, it was packed. The video that I saw was like the store is packed, which again, people just love being in your shop, like, or in, in your community, in your shop. So they make an effort on that day. We wish they would make an effort all the time, right? But
right.
it's like, but it's good to stay reminders. So yeah.
And that's one other little way I take care of the team also. So we have a team meeting leading up to it. This is what everybody's role is. This is where we're going to be. Last time I had the idea of asking them, what makes you anxious about that day? And
Ooh, yeah.
it was like mind blowing. I mean, we know that, one person isn't all that fond of the phone, but we found out more like why. Like she just isn't processing the sound through the phone in the same way. And then it gets super loud that day. So just that little bit of being able to say, and then we could look out for like, oh, okay, so this person's now coming to ask Melissa for something really complicated on local yarn shop day. We now know that makes her anxious. Let's see if we can redirect, just that little bit made a big difference of knowing that about each other. Even though we'd been together for this long, we didn't articulate it
That's such great advice. Such a
that way.
great,
Instead of like, oh my gosh, why is she antsy over there? It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, this makes me anxious. That makes her anxious.
Right. And we all come from different places. I mean, we
Yeah.
sometimes forget that as the boss, right? Or, we all come from, like, turning on the camera doesn't mean I can do that in a minute, right? Like,
Yeah.
go live in a minute,
Yeah.
and I know you can't do, but it might, we all have
But
different,
I'm not going to ask every member of my team to do that.
right. Yeah. There's all things that make us
Yeah.
anxious.
But they do things I can't do, other things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We all have our strengths, right? Yeah. So I love that. So what are you most excited about for Fuzzy Goat coming up for Fuzzy Goat?
I loved and still do creating our own products, our own,
Ah,
like, especially our own bag.
yeah.
So, because of our friend Amy Hart, I found out about somebody who could sew, a seamstress she's actually a fabricator, design a bag with us. I had long been trying to figure out how to create the perfect knitting bag, but I was like, well, how are we going to do the fabric? Who's going to sew it for us? And then we found Jenny. And so continuing to find what else we could
Yeah.
do with Jenny, and having the fabric designed was super fun. And then we used a illustrator. She's actually in Europe, that I found through another collaboration that I did with two other yarn shops. And so she designed the fabric, and then Jenny helped me find somebody to print it. And then she would come in with a prototype and like, needs to be a little bit bigger like this or a little bit like that. And
Mm.
then the customer's feedback. So those are the things that get me the most excited. That and the what we call our lodge. I think what's specific about yarn shops, maybe other maker stores, but my mom was a quilter. I didn't see it as much in the quilting world, but a place where people sit and knit together. I feel like we're softening viewpoints. I feel like that is a real mission of mine, of just making the world a little softer, a little bit more inclusive. I see it. I see people over time. They're just, being more accepting of others, because we don't talk about politics. I'll redirect the conversation if it goes that way. But I've just seen a
So
lot more acceptance happen because of that space.
softening viewpoints because you're
Yeah.
gathering people together.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. Yeah. So many exciting things. And yes, Jenny is Jenny from Honeybee Fabrications.
Yes.
She's a member of our coaching program
Oh,
as
excellent.
yeah, as is Amy, yes, as well too. So Amy Hart from Hair in the Heart as well. So I love hearing that. I love hearing these collaborations. I love, and again, as you mentioned, we're talking about all these different people that we're not doing this solo, right?
Yeah,
You're
right. Oh, yeah.
yeah, the vendors and lots of exciting things happening because of your customers and the people. And this is why I love retail so much. I really do. This is why I love independent retail and why I love chatting with people like
Oh,
you. So, and I love watching what you're doing and building and growing. And it's such a pleasure to chat with you. Anything else to share before I want to honor your time today.
no, I mean, I'll talk longer than anybody has to.
Yeah. So,
I wish I'd done it sooner. I wish I had started sooner.
okay, that's a great thing
Yeah.
great advice. I wish I had started sooner as well too. Yeah, I was scared.
So, I mean, I have major admiration for anybody that does this while they are raising children. So I
Mhm.
wish I'd done it sooner, but I don't know how much more sooner I could have done it. Like, I don't think I had the bandwidth for doing this and lots of people at home dependent on me.
Yeah. Any other advice for retailers out there before we sign off?
Use a coach. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
I do think we're not meant to do. I think we're all supposed to have mentors. I mean, I have
yes.
coaches, you have coaches. Like we all I just don't I think we have to look to people who have walked the walk before us, right? Or who have the
Yeah.
tools. Why are
And
we
I always, when I say that, I mean, I say that to anybody who will listen and
yeah,
they'll say, oh, I can't afford that. I'm like, this is my piece of advice about that. It is your coach's job to make sure that you can.
yeah, yeah. It's true, right? It is. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's an ROI in it all the time.
right.
Everything.
Right. So they're going to help you figure that out. You don't have to know how to figure that out yet.
Yes, that's the point of coaching. Yes, I agree. Thank you. So thank you for that. So where can we send people to find you and to find your beautiful shop and so they can
Yeah.
shop
So
your
we're
shop?
online at fuzzygoatyarns.com and then on Instagram at
We'll
fuzzy,
find your Instagram account for you. No.
fuzzy_goat. And then also on Facebook, it's Fuzzy Goat Yarns.
And also, you've been very generous to our listeners. Do you want to just share what you've
So we have I forgot what the coupon code is. This is where the COVID brain is coming in here.
shop talk, I think. Yeah.
Is that it? Okay. I tried to think of something that fit with what you had there. So we would love you to visit Fuzzy Goat Yarns and find the things that we have that not just knitting. So that's something we also had to learn how to do is to have products that are make sense for our regular customers, but also find new customers. We have amazing buttons, by the way. Most people can't find buttons and dryer balls, but we have a coupon shop talk for 11% off. And why 11? Because it's just different than 10. It makes
There
you
we
think
go.
about it.
So I was so excited when you shared that, and then you shared with our group, and it's funny because I have actually kept your coupon and I don't have it in front of me. I wish I did in front of me. I meant to, sorry. So you shared a gift with all of our mastermind members, which was so kind and grateful. I'm so grateful. And it was 11% off coupon. And we talked about that during our round tables in our mastermind group. I'm like, 11% off. See, we're all talking about this. 11% off. It's not 10% off. It's 11% off. So there's a conversation. It's different. Thank you.
A lot of times I actually have a rationale. It might be a little bit different.
Mhm.
Like we have one going on now for Millennial May,
Mhm.
and the amount is how old Caroline and Madeline were it when the millennium happened, So it's and usually I can have a reason, but 11, it's just different.
It's just different. Well, it is. It's a great conversation starter. And again, in marketing and retail, how are we standing out? I mean, a 1%, normally everybody does 10%. So 1% is like whoopee woo, right? But
Yeah.
we're talking about it. And now here I'm talking about it again. So I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah. We'll have to come up with something different because there'll be so many 11%
yeah,
now. But
just a
that's
reminder.
okay. That's why
So
we have to keep changing.
just a reminder. I picked up a coupon the other day and it was a beautiful, quiet shop. I want to say very elegant, and their coupon was on lime green paper and it seemed kind of off brand. And I kind of looked at it and the guy said, made you look. It's like, and it was so funny. And we just had a conversation because it's different, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, and it actually said that on the coupon. It was kind of funny. It's like totally off brand. Our lime green coupons are, so you're right. We have to be a little bit different. So thank you so much, Cadence,
Oh,
for
thank
being here
you,
today.
Wendy.
I'm so happy
Thanks
that
for
you
wanting to ask me these questions.
yeah, it's been great chatting with you, and I appreciate your time and energy. And I want to encourage everybody to go follow Cadence at Fuzzy Goat, fuzzygoatyarns.com. But we'll put all the links in the show notes, and we'll make sure we direct everybody to the right Instagrams and everything. And please go give her a follow. Totally beautiful shop you can get so inspired by. So thank you, Cadence.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. We're so glad that you're here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also, an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.